Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. This is Tats. I'm here with the weekly word, and I just pray that it blesses you. You take the time to listen, and that uh, it blesses your spirits. Amen. Today, I'm gonna share with you something with the title "The Father's Heart," and I'm gonna read from Luke 15, verse 11 to 24. And it's the parable of the prodigal son, or the parable of the lost son. Amen. It says, to illustrate the point further, Jesus told them this story. A man had two sons. The younger son told his father, I want my share of your estate now before you die. So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him, but no one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, at home, even the hired servants have enough food to spare, and here I am dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and say, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I'm no longer worthy of being called your son. Please take me on as a hired servant. So he returned home to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming. Filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. His son said to him, Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and am no longer worthy of being called your son. But his father said to the servants, Quick, bring the finest robe in the house and put it on him. Get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet, and kill the calf we have been fattening. We must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and has now returned to life. He was lost, but now he is found. And so the party began. Amen. Um, I love this story, obviously. And I know a lot of people do. And one of the things that it shows us is, God's heart for us. When you look at the story, this young man, took his father's wealth prematurely before he learned how to handle it. And he went and squandered it all, lost all the money. And then, he started to starve. He started eating with pigs. And then he realized that, he was at rock bottom. He had lost everything, didn't have any more friends, didn't even have anything to eat. Then he decides to go back to his father. But he goes back thinking, my dad will never, accept me. And, he has a lot of guilt and a lot of shame because he knows that what he did was wrong. But as soon as he gets home, in fact, his father sees him before he even arrives. He sees him from far off and runs to him and embraces him and kisses him and gets the servants, to dress him up in new clothes and, to give him a ring. And, he gets a party started, and he gets like his prize calf so that it's killed, so that they just have a party because he's back. And, he had this whole speech planned about, just make me your servant, dad. I'm really sorry for what I did. But, the father doesn't listen to all that. The father doesn't even ask him questions about where he's coming from and what he's done. He doesn't even ask him about, what he did with all the money. He's just so happy that his son is back. He's just so happy that the son that was lost is back, in his home, and he reinstates him, to the son that he was even before he left. And that's God's heart for us. Amen. He doesn't desire that we should be destroyed, even by our own actions. Amen. He doesn't want us, to be down and out. He wants us, to be his children. He wants us to be his sons and daughters. Amen. He wants us to inherit everything, that he has prepared for us. He wants us to live the good life that he has planned for us. When we read in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. So God's thoughts about us are good thoughts. God's plans for us are good plans. But of course, sometimes as human beings, like this son, we run away from him, or we veer away from his plan or from his commands and the life that he wants for us. But it doesn't change his mind. It doesn't change the fact that he has good plans for us. We can see in the story, because the son goes away, does everything that he does, and then he comes back. But as soon as he's come back, he's reinstated. He's given the ring. I'm sure it's like a signet ring, like, that shows that he's a son. And he's not like made a servant or anything. It's my son is back. He was lost and now he's found. He's back. We're having a party. He's my son again. And that's the thing. God doesn't change his mind about us. He doesn't change his mind about his plans for us. And so we should never be afraid to go to him, whether it's for the first time, just accepting Jesus into your life, or whether it's that you ran away from him and you're now coming back, or whether it's that you're just praying every day and just coming to him, with your requests and, everything that bothers you, and, just asking him to guide you in your life. You should just know that God's love is available for you. God's arms are just wide open, like this father's arms, just ready to embrace you, just ready to give you the best, just ready to give you love and compassion, without any questions asked. Amen. When we look at ourselves, sometimes, we judge ourselves. We're like, oh, maybe I should just ask for a little bit from God. Let me not ask for, big things. Let me not ask him to do anything drastic in my life because, I'm not worthy for whatever reason. But when we see this story, we see that God doesn't look at all that. He doesn't even ask about all of that. He's just ready to embrace, and he's just ready to give you back your ring. He's just ready to give you back your robe. He's just ready to put his plan for you in motion. Amen. Because as soon as this son came back, he became a son again. And I'm sure he now had a new inheritance, even though he went and squandered that other one. He was already reinstated as an heir, of the Father's wealth again. Amen. And so when we come to God, whether it's every day in prayer, or when we come to God having been away from him for a while, we should just know that his heart is one of love, one of compassion all the time. He's going to see you from afar off, and he's just ready to embrace you. He's just ready to listen to you, and he's just ready to come through for you in your life, in whatever it is that you're experiencing, in whatever it is that you're feeling. When we look at the son, he had this guilt. We can hear it from what he was saying, and God was just ready, to deal with that. So whatever baggage or pain, that we may be carrying, or whatever requests or hardships that we're experiencing, God is just ready to deal with all of that. He's just ready to embrace you and just get you, back into his fold, back into his house, back into his plan. And so, don't be afraid to go to God in prayer. Don't be afraid to go back to God, when you sinned against him. Don't be afraid to go to God for the very first time if you've never spoken to God, because God has a plan for you. God is there for you. God is waiting for you. And he wants to bless you. He wants to embrace you and show you love and compassion and his plans. He doesn't want you to be lost or destroyed. He wants you to be in his house. He wants you to be his child, and he wants you to have the very best, that he prepared for you even before the foundations of the earth. Amen. I hope this blesses you. Have a wonderful weekend. Go to God throughout the week. Call upon God throughout the week and see, the amazing plans and good things that he has for you. Amen.